Alqubit IT as an expression of art. Alqubit IT as an expression of art.
Hello world, I'm back again. I'm not leaving. Let me just... Okay, everything is super right. I have fine-tuned my issue with VLC the last time. Now there is no way that it will break my intro and outro. I have a lot to share, very interesting information. I really hope to be able to warm up and enter into the flow, into the zone, and going forward like a tank. Because the last stream that was, I was very excited, but I just struggled at the energy level. I didn't reach the zone level. I have struggled, and the presentation wasn't super brilliant, and I deleted that. I have prepared, fortunately, I have invested a lot to prepare in all the additional standards, and I have very interesting topic to share. and to converge into the essence of what has been my deep dive, my struggle with the color accuracy calibration, and it is everything is arriving into the consistent picture of the video levels, standards, consistent color accuracy calibration, and everything is matching as a puzzle, and it is very interesting. I really hope to be. It is really challenging. My video production has this is live streaming as usual. It never gets easier. It's always getting even harder because live production is a beast, real animal, wild animal that you need to manage. From the technical standpoint of view, it needs to be perfect. You have to have always all the control and the ability to perform live. I preparing the argument, the topic, but I'm freestyle. I need to perform. And let's go on. I will warm up as usual what I'm doing. Let's set here a little bit of context. At a mini live stream, this helps me to relax and enter into the zone. I'm recording into uncompressed 10-bit, and it is going on not less previous time, and everything is good. I can, if you want that I create specific video about VLC integration into the live production with full control, everything as it was HyperDeck. Yes, HyperDeck, you attached and you go forward. But VLC, I have reached the absolute perfection with the last adjustment. That was wasn't going into the front screen, was this one that is in Italian sempre in primo piano, always on front. This was missing, and as soon as you touch something, it's going into background, and when you start your intro, it is nowhere. Okay, let's go. I have super interesting everything, the basis of everything that we will talking about, and everything related with the color accuracy calibration, with the broadcast, with everything is here. The video levels fundamental. This was my struggle. I have started, let's review again a little bit. I have started in March. I bought my beautiful Display Pro HL from Calibrite, my sensor, and my first I/O device was Blackmagic Intensity Pro 4K, and I started, and I bought those. One of the monitor I had already. I bought those two monitor. The first one I had it from the 2024. This one I bought it exactly March, April. They have low cost budget but perfect quality for the purpose. It is even better than what I have had ever expected. The APS 10-bit at the level of edit recognition of the signal but they using 8-bit pure frame rate control. It is switching very quickly the portions of the colors, and it is as a motion pictures, you see more colors because it is switching. And it is acceptable. I have extended my research. There are 4 levels of grade monitors. Grade 1 had been developed with grade 1A and grade 1B as quality and characteristic. After that, grade monitor 2, that both monitor is entering into SDR as a characteristic into grade 2, because I have reached very fine-tuned high quality. And grade 3, all the monitor that could be TV, high quality, and so on. We will get into the documentation, the standard. And I started with those. My live production and everything at the beginning was without any awareness, super contrasty. I was using without even color profile from Sony, but with dynamic range 3. It was super spicy, contrasty. Now I cannot even look at those images. But my awareness about the color distinction, hues, and accuracy has started from there, because March, April, May, I have invested like crazy to color calibrate everything, every laptop, my field monitor. I have don't ever color calibrate field monitor. I will explain. Field monitor is so slow. It took something like 5 hours, and I've had to do 3-4 cycles to produce a lot that was covering 60% from Rec 719. And I thought it was worth. The other day, in 30 minutes, having my other monitor super referenced, calibrated, I have matched completely what I need to do during my broadcast live production. 30 minutes, not 3 days. And it is super. I have resetted it and everything. And let's go. I have used Calman. Some information about color space of light illusion regarding integration and how you need to optimize with DaVinci Resolve. The same for the Calman that I stated the last time, but I will repeat everything. And there are specific fine-tunings that you have to do mandatory if you want consistency. And color accuracy is one of the aspects of the calibration. It is fundamental aspect, but secondary from the video level, how you set the video, full range, limited, narrow range. This is the fundamental. You have to start from the very basic, and this is the most important, because I had all those months very good results in terms of DeltaE. Always around 1 point something, 1.6, 1.5, 1.3, And I've had all those investments of time repeating the thing, because there was always shifting of the, even though it was showing you have obtained the best result, delta 1.60. When I see to the monitor, it doesn't match it, absolutely, it cannot be, and I was going on repeating. And I developed really the awareness, and when started to develop my real creative intent, and I have created partially this, my beautiful new look and feel color profile that now is Cine 2 Pro color profile with the fine tuning of the everything specific that I have done, and it is completely super good. I'm proud of this because my live production has changed, and I was saying from this process has started actually developing the quality, the real quality of my production, live production capability to, I have invested, I switched to DaVinci Resolve in January last year. So 1 year with DaVinci Resolve. And it was life-changing, eye-opening, beautiful thing, beautiful journey. I have used it for everything, as a player, as a hyperdeck, as a recorder, as a anamorphic disquiz in real time, as anything that I can think about. And it is still, I haven't touched yet Fusion, and my objective is to do as little post-production on absolutely no production. The live stream needs to be with the more than perfect or very good quality that I have reached. Basically, I have optimized the sound. This is missing the cloud lifter, and I have boosted to overcome this problem, but it is good. And I have, from my live production, from my Ate Mini Extreme or Pro, real time, real -14 laughs for YouTube. It will be that with -1 dB or -1.2, maximum -2, but it is perfect. And this was constant evolution, investment, and my real struggle, but real evolution was with my experiment with the anamorphic lens. And when I decided to respect the standard Rec 709, BT 1886, 100 nits, without reference point, you can have any color calibration accurate and whatever you want, but without reference point, you are wasted into the jungle. There is no way to, every monitor has a little bit different gamma, different shift, and you cannot understand and develop the perception of what can be improved on what it is missing. And this was the start a month ago. I decided to completely radicalize everything, and I have done one new experiment with the color calibration with 100 nits, and I have seen that there is an abyss of quality that you reach immediately because you have to have this reference point. In fact, monitors with grade 1A, they absolutely must respond to the standard, and 100 nits, it's a must to have, and in HDR and everything. And my reference point has changed, and once I have obtained those values, they are all beautiful values, one after another, and with the 100 nits, I was able, between the two monitors, that the one is, I'm using this for the user interface, and it is seen by the NVIDIA as a 10-bit RGB, 30 bits because 10 bits for every color. And it has absolutely, if I get this one into user interface, it is too perfect for the user interface of the operating system. It is ugly. Even though it is perfect, it doesn't feel good, too much details. And I'm using this for user interface. I have started initially to do, I was perceiving the image was perfect, the consistency and the color accuracy was perfect, but there was a shift between the two monitors, and the difference between budget monitors and the high-level monitors is that you don't have the profiles that you can set in order to be consistent, stable, and you can switch between one and the other. You can eventually with those do personalized or by default. This K here is meaning that it is calibrated by default. This one has profile Rec 709. This only DCI P3. And this is actually a problem because they cannot match. There is always something. This has much more contrast, much more, even though you switch, we do. And after I have started initially with 3 loops of the both, every interaction of calibration per monitor is around 1 hour and a half. After that validation, after you invest as nothing for every interaction. Per monitor, minimum 3 hours. And so I have started, I have invested 2 weeks like nothing full time. And I have done in any way and form to overcome the limitations that they have. They actually are very good on the color accuracy. They are at the base point of grade 1, but they are missing, obviously, they are IPS, very high level of the blacks. This one I'm able to, and it is depends if you keep the default profile or you do the personalization profile. If you keep the default profile with the part of black optimization for gaming, it gets much lower black. And you can, I was able to have 0.095, 96 in 1, 95. After that, I have reached to the point configuring it in UV, in RGB, in 8-bit, in full mode, on limited mode. My sentence is, the user interface monitor needs to be RGB, DHE 10 bits, full range. That is the best interpretation, even from Resolve, on how it will interpret the viewer and everything, its profile. You need to have the profile saved. Here I'm using DisplayCAL that has its management of the profiles, and it works pretty good with all the exception of the, and I have disabled now all the profiles because the difference in monitoring, when you color calibrate and make it perfect for the grading, color grading, it is completely different if you are using it into the context of live production. You have to have much higher brightness, you have to change the default light baseline in order to see the real colors, and otherwise at 100 nits you don't see anything. You're getting crazy, mad. And I have fine-tuned it again now, recording what I have done. I will return very quickly when I need into the color grading mode with the profiles and everything. And what I was saying, that for Windows specifically, but even with Mac, you have to keep it the best profile for the operating system and adjusting it when you color grade eventually Rec 709 or whatever it is. But one important, super important thing to keep in mind: forget about that you can color grade with only one monitor that you are seeing into the viewers. Even if they are perfect, they are absolutely color perfect, you cannot do it. The requirements are completely different, and it is a struggle. It is not the same as you have. Better to have two budget monitors with the Intensity Pro or whatever your device you have, DeckLink Mini 4K or all the others advanced, and an external monitor, that one perfect monitor that you are using for everything. It's not going to work well, I am guaranteeing. And now I will explain why. So I have obtained really good level of color accuracy, really good level of consistency, but there was something that was completely all the time that was missing and with crashing: the black, the whites. And that is something that I was completely unaware about, and it started with the testing color bars test charts. I have seen that I was doing it with integration in DaVinci, and now I've seen that we are not there when we need to be. And I immediately started to deep dive into the reasons, and there was the fundamental truth. And I have begun to search even into the website of the portrait Calman into the color space light illusion, and I began to the difficulty in everything, even in electronics, even in IT that I have. If you struggle, you can never solve the problem if you banging your head against the problem. You need to deep dive, move laterally, step back, and your mind is operating and integrating, and it all of a sudden you connect all the dots. And what happened is in this way, in this case, I began to perceive that during my tests that I will do a quick demo of the color calibration as a pattern generator inside DaVinci. DaVinci was sending the patterns at 0, 0 and slightly increasing the patterns. On my monitor was 0, 0, black screen. There was nothing. And from there, I connected the dots by integrating the test bars, starting the research, and understanding that if you have to deliver into the broadcast, into the web, you have to use only, and even for the calibration with Calman, there is no other way for calibration except video limited. It is mandatory to use video limited, not full. And that's why I was pushing everything, because as anyone that you want to push into the limit, even beyond the limit, every time. The novelties, the pushing, the best, the beyond the best, the very best beyond the best. And now I was pushing everything here, full 10-bit. And I was noticing that the patterns were capacity to be reproduced was missing. And I began to research into the DeckLink Blackmagic I devices and everything. By default, if you use SDR, 10-bit, they are in limited mode, in video mode, limited, narrow, whatever it is called. And if you use 444 or HDR, they need to be in full mode. Only in those exceptions, or you don't produce DCP and everything, for exceptions that you need to have the adequate I/O device that is supporting. This is supporting basically a lot of things, 12-bit. If I want to use with Intensity Pro HDR I/O device, there is no way. It doesn't cover HDR, even though it covers 10-bit or deep colors and everything. So everything needs to be consistent end-to-end. And it needs to be from the settings everywhere inside DaVinci. The premises is that we use DaVinci Resolve as a pattern generator, or whatever you need to color grade. It needs to be consistent way, set into the video 10-bit end-to-end, whenever it is, color management everywhere. Even if you have the exception inside the timeline settings. I don't use now timeline, settings, I am using it here. And there are settings inside. I connected the dot even with this thing. You have here, there is no much here in the intensity to set. But the more advanced your device is, the more options you have. I had set video converter to RGB 444. Without any signal, my black was green. Now it's wondering what happened with this IO device that I have by default green, and it matched immediately. The default of the full, because why you need use 444? It is sending full level signal, and the full level signal into the context of limited video signal is already beyond expecting the what is the 0, 64, 64, 64. The limited version of the signal is expecting the 0, the black. The full level of the range is already into the green. And there was a lot of inconsistency, and my big work of development and deep dive of research and development has been to match together all the dots and understand all those aspects that I've been able to improve. I discovered the port 1 and port 2 direct output with having my experience almost 1 year ago with the different chips that they have, and it's getting better and better. Once you enter into the flow, the deep dive, there are endless levels of Pandora boxes that you open. It is new level of correctness and perfection of the, and after that there is another level that you go deep, another world. And I have had this going deep top-down, bottom-up validation constantly, and I had the last 15 iteration that I had for improving my current accuracy, and the biggest struggle had been with the color consistency between the monitor, that I have reached almost perfect result on my LinkedIn. I have shared. I have reached really super high level of consistency. Let me show quickly those two. Those are the two. This is a little shifted the blacks because it is with angle. Those two are equal, absolutely equal. And the particularity, idiosyncrasy of the budget monitors that you need to adapt around its profile. This one is my user interface monitor. This one is my reference monitor. It has a little bit, there are very little, but I've been able to color grade like nothing after that. It is so easy, it's matching completely with the scopes, with everything. It was a pleasure to do it. This one is RGB full video signal that I will show here. You can see this one is 30-bit color HDR. I'm using only HDR. For HDR, those monitor cannot, the reference monitor can do it, but they will be much less consistent, and I don't produce HDR. 10-bit RGB full. This one that is pointing to the HDMI inside the Atem Mini is UV 8-bit. This is recognized by system topology of the edit protocol that you cannot force. So it in Atem, on Atem as a monitor is in 8-bit. And now it's saying that limited. You cannot choose this one. You can choose RGB, yes, and push it into another limited because it is all 8-bit. But this is with the monitors. I was saying the conclusion of the entire, and I will explain Mountain yet to processing, but the conclusion about the monitors in the context of two monitors that are budget monitors, but with very high quality for what I have invested. The both of them was $261, $250, around 500 euros for both. The user interface needs to be RGB 10-bit full. This one needs to be, at the beginning I was pushing full whatever is the more I was bulldozing, the more happy I was, but the DeltaE was perfect, but the color was absolutely horrendous. It needs to be end-to-end. And what I have discovered that the monitor has the specific setting for the video level. It needs to be one-to-one matching. Absolutely. If it is not automatic. On this monitor is automatic. On this monitor is not automatic. But there are aspects even for the firmware that has a lot of bugs. This monitor has inverted setting of the full and limited. When I set it into limited, it behaves as a full, and when I set it in full, it behaves as limited. So a lot of struggles, a lot of time invested, and this is the big issue with the good quality but budget monitors, because there is no free lunch, as I have said a month ago or two. There is no free lunch into the color consistency calibration. You pay it in one way or another. And those monitors are a real struggle to calibrate. And forget about to calibrate with a lot into the converter and make it those monitors, you calibrate it for specific only one profile. Otherwise you need to repeat everything, because every value needs to be recalibrated. There is no switch button, even though there is preset. Now I'm using this with preset X709, and I'm free to go, relatively free to go, to adjust based on my use cases that I need for live production. This one that has only preset value different preset value, video, movie, PC, whatever, is pointless, but it has DCI P3 that I cannot use as a default. The values are completely out of... this is calibrated into the production, and I have, in terms of colors, differences, optimizations. I have set only one tick, the blue, lower. Everything was perfect. Obviously, you need to adjust the gamma that I have invested a lot of with that. There are numbers of the gamma without the value, real value of the gamma. That was another struggle. And I have set the gamma, the black level, and everything. Now that I'm using it as a broadcast production monitor, I have set return to push the black levels in automatic management. This I have set the default default profile Rec 709. It optimizes the blacks, everything, and it is more than perfect for the purpose. What is happening in this case? You're creating on the left desktop profile that is optimizing the shift of its baseline, because you cannot set anything when it is by default. You cannot set the colors, anything. But it is very consistent. Even this is calibrated by production, and the best way with the low quality monitors is if they are pre-calibrated and you use the default profile, because it has the matrix, internal matrix, into the most stable conversion and consistency of the colors. Being 8-bit with the interpretation of the 10-bit at the level of the signal with FRC, there are little inconsistency, incongruence during the calibration. They are not perfect, and that's why they are at this level. But in terms of response, color accuracy is at the level of the basic minimum of grade 1. Very consistent in terms. Its issue is the blacks, and I'm missing by 0.04 to enter even by the black into the grade 1, because having 0.095, the minimum black for grade 1B, or we need to see now, is 0.05. That is the absolute minimum of tolerance for SDR in grade 1. And the needs must be 100. And I have done this enormous work, but it was a real gift, because it opened my eyes and my capability, a comprehension light years forward. And let's go a little bit further. What I have discovered. Let's talking about for consistency to complete the talking about the monitors. I have here color grade 1 monitors that I have prepared, that I have presented the last time. but I will repeat. This is new entry, ISO Prominence CG1, color edge. It is not exactly as a Sony, but it is competitor to the Sony. It is 35,000 euros, this thing. And this is the new entry that you go and see. In terms of references and specs, it is absolutely there. I don't know how many will trust to invest so many, but this is one. The another is Canon, that is real competitor to Sony at different price point, always very high, 35,000, 40,000, 30,000 based upon. This is grade 1 A, very high level. Those are the best of the best. Canon, the Sony 3110, the new one that has the IP 2110 and has much higher level of for HDR. This is the new one, BVM HX3110. This is, I haven't looked at exactly to the what is the price point, but it's there. 40,000. I have no idea. 35,000, 40,000. And this one became the little poor guy for 35,000 as well, the previous version. But this was like forever the absolute reference monitor for color grade. Grade 1A, absolute best, together with the other. After that, the wonderful FlandersScientific color grade monitor, grade 1A. You need to fine-tune the specs. It has the quantum dots OLED display panel. That is the same as the others. This one, Quantum 32 from SmallHD, grade 1A. Those are, the Sony is the very best, absolute best. After that with the Canon, and it's very new for the this one. It's unknown, but it wants to be perceived and positioned and use it into the absolute best. This one. Those 2 or 3 have this quantum dot OLED with perfect blacks. The 100 nits at 100% only on 3% of the space of the monitor. That is, it is color grade 1A or B. We are there. The same with this. The properties of the monitor is always with these specs that of the panel. It cannot be 100%, 100,000 nits. 3%, otherwise it starts to dimming with its automatic management. The same with the super competitor, that this is into the range of grade 1B, definitely grade 1B. This is the same panel that as the other two that are 13,000. This one now the price is around let's say in euros 100 or 1,600 more or less. Now they have done this. K is meaning calibration. Don't throw your money with this. I will explain that I will arrive. There is no way that you can manage the hardware auto calibration with a known sensor into the angle of your panel. You don't know what is the margins of error. It is, in my opinion, after this struggle, every kind of hardware auto calibration is marketing bulldozing the price. This specific sensor that will go to see them after that, because there are a lot of here. This specific sensor is the poorest brother of all those. It is the basic of the basic. It can do 1,000 nits, but it is not professional. It is the basic of the prosumer. Even this, there is no anywhere. I don't think they selling anymore this. Those two are the only starting point of the, not even the data color and everything. This one is 3,000 nits, mine. The other is 10,000 nits. And this version 3 of the X-Ray OM, that is the same thing produced for all the hardware vendors, and this has the version 3 tolerance of DeltaE max 0.8 margin of error. For the medium is 0.3, DeltaE 0.3 for the average. The old version, that was the 2 with the X-Ray 2, was the margin of error for the DeltaE 0.9, almost 1. You can get 1 and actually have 2. This is even worse. I will not even consider those two. This yellow is absolutely no. This absolutely no. Only those two to be taken into consideration. And they are not perfect sensors. They have margin of errors that is quite high. But it's better than nothing. It is 100,000 times better than the included that is integrated to whatever monitor it is hardware. You can change it. You choose into the center on the monitor, not on the angle, not that is... it is BS marketing. And the hardware version of those calibration software that interpreting quick mode, you don't calibrate. You're doing something. After what I have been through, this is my opinion. And I was saying that the margins of error of the previous version, X, right? DeltaE is 0.9. You can have, obviously you can never reach with the whatever monitor 0.1. If you are good for you. But it is perfectly capable that you get 0.1 and actually have 0.1 have 1.9. There is absolutely, the tolerance is too big. The real professional sensor, I cannot now in sophisticated way state the names of the different kind of sensors, but the very high level that needs to be 0.000, I don't have no idea, of tolerance that you need to calibrate the calibrator sensor every once in a while, every thought of time, starting from 10,000 euros, 15,000 euros and up. Don't buy this thing with to pay 500 for nothing. Get the version that doesn't have calibration and buy your own sensor. And there is no precise science, unfortunately, because there are tolerances everywhere. As in electronics, I'm having 2 diplomas in electronics. Electronics for me is still a wonder that everything stays into place and working actually, because everything inside is within tolerances and they're shifting based on temperature and, with the time and everything. The same here. The color accuracy calibration is not super precise. It stays within margins. And you have to improve the margins. More straight, more tight. And the more tight they are, the more costly it is. And it is not free lunch, unfortunately. I have, with my super optimization, got this newest, use it as new. Got the 2 I/O devices, use it as new. 2 super budget monitors. I paid around 1,000 euros, more or less, probably more than less. 1,000 euros for the very super optimized basic of color accuracy. And the amount of time that I have invested this past year can be stated without any doubt. 4 months. I've been through developing knowledge super optimizations. And you pay those monitors grade 1 because the vendor is doing instead of you. Those are the one. This is very basic legacy. Those still current. Fortunately, they moved SL to the legacy. This is pointless. And you can see here that this is used only for 250 nits. Do not buy this. Even with this. This is the same, but it's gray instead of yellow. This is absolutely the same. So the previous version is without K. K is because it has in the firmware super buggy firmware from ASUS. They are well known, I can state, for this hardware, well known for super buggy firmware. You will struggle if you get this with the internal calibration. You need good software for calibration, you need good sensor, and you need perfect end-to-end optimization, knowledge that you need to develop. Forget that we'll plug everything at once and you will do next as this absolutely trashy software from Calibrate, and you will do something with your profile. It is pointless. I have recently tested it. If you do with this only little addendum, you can use this only for the monitor profile. There is no 3D LUTs, there is nothing. Only if you use super personalization, gamma, you choose the gamma value with the custom, and you set the gamma, and you set the custom whatever it is, black point, measured black point, you measure the black point, native default, everything you need to measure and reset by your own values, everything. And after that, you go to the patches and select the 461. And after an hour, you will get something. The last one that this is 3.04. I was, with personalization, it was getting actually decent value for the desktop. But it's creating the default profile for Windows or whatever it is you're using. It's not perfect. No software is perfect. And those that are costing more, you will invest, you lose it in your life behind little tweaking if you don't use high profile, high precision sensor, high profile software. And the same with the monitor. I have had to discover, fine-tune, super fine-tune the bugs of the firmware, the super specific behavior and everything. And if the higher level it is, the more stable and precise it is. You can save internally 3D LUTs, diverse specific profiles about any range of calibration. You, instead to redo everything every time from the ground up, you just pushing the button up that, and you have the new monitor about the new color space. And this is the same panel with its struggle of issues, limitation of only one HDMI and one display port. It has support for, this is specifically done, it is color grade 2 monitor to the limit of grade 1B, because it has a lot of properties for the gaming, because this monitor is specifically done for gaming developers. And it is not good really. Obviously, if you can spend only that, I will be happy to have this. More than happy, because it will be 10 times better than what I have. And I can super optimize them. And I will be good to go. But you need to take into account that if you have super critical high level work, you cannot do with this. This is with the margins of errors and specs that is not the top of the top. There is no free lunch here. The top of the top, you have critical work and everything at those levels. End of discussion. And different levels of grade 2 and 3. Grade 2 are for the web, for everything that is more than enough that you have certain margins of consistency and capability, obviously professional enough to re-enter into your workflow and use, for example, the others. The monitors for is only color edge that you can take into account, and this one. This is very good, but they are entering into the range of high level grade 2 probably, that are good for easygoing, not super critical to editing. For editing are perfect. Editing, cutting, color grading for critical work can be used, but as an external reference monitor, not. You need to be aware that you are entering into. There is no perfect one, perfect for everything. You're doing exchange for something else. You just need to be aware. And those are very high level for the term that their hardware are super professional with you can sorry about you can absolutely fine tune video levels, everything. 500 nits, it's absolutely great too for HDR. You need to know where you're positioning yourself. Whatever price is the grade 2 high level professional, because it has all the interfaces and very high level fine tuning, actual professional fine tuning and integration. You pay, I have no idea, but you arrive to something like 5,000, the range of 5,000. And this is how it is. And grade 3, all OLED, whatever it is, or at the margin of the entry level of grade 2, all the TV, OLED, LG, home that are good for visualization. They are not good for color grading. They're good to see the result, but not absolute reference and those advanced settings. And you pay them, can be 200, 300, 400, 600, 1,000, so whatever it is. But it is between grade 3 and grade 2, in the middle, with a very unprofessional workflow, because you will be getting crazy into the color accuracy calibration, even though you eventually can do auto calibration with software as a Calman, and improve a little bit the workflow, but there is no free lunch here. And you can obtain the advantage of very color accurate panel that I'm using, very super super budget monitors, and in terms of color accuracy, they are inside the grade 1. The only issue is my black, and the fact that grade 1 is mandatory to have pure 10 bits. For grade 2 is completely acceptable to have FRC 8-bit plus FRC. It is re-entering completely inside this class of quality. It is perfectly acceptable for editing and easygoing my live production, web, YouTube, whatever it is. But if it is calibrated at the best point feasible, you are getting a really great result, undoubtedly. But you cannot do super precise work at the highest level. And this is stopping here. And the video levels I will explain. It will be, I think, long video, because the material is became enormous. The reference softwares that I have found, there could be actually different ways of with scopes, but you have to understand that you need to do end-to-end calibration, starting from the camera into the monitor, after that into fine-tuning end-to-end of the color grading, your I/O device, and after that with the delivery, everything. Do not do auto that I'm discussing into the DaVinci Resolve for professional groups. It's not done that DaVinci thinks on everything by itself. Okay, but if you know what exactly is necessary, we do 100 times better, because you will set it once and it will work millions of times, not with the version changing, with anything. And the software. The software Calman, that for DaVinci Resolve integration are only the two highest level of license, ultimate, professional, whatever it is called, between 3000 and 2000. DisplayCAL is that I am using. I am struggling. It has its issue. It's developed. It has its bugs. It works 3 times on 10, but when it works, you obtain the very best result. Much better than the profiler of Calibrite. Light illusion is the high-level position as well. It has different levels of functionality and licenses. It almost each and every one. The lowest one that is, unfortunately, when you buy it, it doesn't include the updates. The very basic one that is covering quite good profiling of features, but it doesn't produce 3D LUT, doesn't include the updates. Once you buy it once. Instead, the color space, that is, you don't need to get the highest level. Those are the license options, actually, which one you can use. And the important thing is that you need to produce 3D LUT verification. Calman and Light Illusion have completely different way of suggestions of how you need to optimize end-to-end color accuracy calibration inside DaVinci Resolve by using it as a pattern generator. light illusion with their validation process have reached to the conclusion that you need to use 8-bit settings inside DaVinci here, not 12, not 10, 8-bit, in full video mode, and manage it from the software as a narrow or video level. Instead, the how is called that time, the Calman has completely different suggestions. This is guidance that you need to respect. You have mandatory to choose 10-bit display video mode limited, and it needs to be end-to-end. This is how you calibrate it. After that, once it is calibrated, presumably you can do whatever you need during your workflow, but this is how this software works, and I will choose exactly how it is opening the options. Calman requires, if you use the internal engine of DaVinci Resolve as a pattern generator, you need to use it with only limited 10-bit signal, end-to-end. This is their requirement of their validation that they have done. And the licenses are Professional, Ultimate. Those two licenses. You can use with any version, even with LG, Sony, or whatever home version. The pattern generation from DaVinci, we will connect with it, but you can never produce a 3D LUT that is necessary to configure and calibrate with DaVinci. So you need to fine-tune the analysis, validation of specs, your particularity of your monitor solution, and everything end-to-end before you buy and go all in your solution. And this is one. I will show now those. After that, I will arrive to the standards that today I have done very deep dive. I been able to skim the standards and get good awareness, but they're all together from different organisms that had been released, but they are pointing to the same thing. That are the workflow, the validation, the standards, the test charts, the conversion between full limited video and back in SDI, HDMI, whatever use case it might be, the levels, everything is inside the standards. Respect the standards. Start with the Rec 709 BT 1886 transfer function, because it is fundamental, which is almost identical as a Gamma 2.4 and 100 nits. You will not get in wrong, never. Start from there. After that, improve, and we will arrive there. With beautiful representation that is this. Let's briefly, after that we return here. What does it mean limited video signal? Narrow range. This is beautiful representation. Narrow range video signal you have in 10-bit. After that there is another one with difference 10-bit, 8-bit, 12-bit, 16-bit. In 10-bit as a reference, you have 0 as a first value, 123 as the last one value. So there are in total 1024 values. SDI, you can, in full range SDI, you can use those protected values because they are used for timing reference signal of the synchronization. That's why when you break this with the SDI, you are getting strange colors or breaking the connection. Full SDI is starting from 4 and ending to 2019. Those are the values. In terms of narrow range, it is identical between HDMI and SDI. It is this one, 940 for the pure white and 64 for the pure black. And you have after that exceptions into the super whites that even with HDMI is managed, and with the SDI those values are allowed with sub blacks and super whites. And what does it mean in the context of DaVinci Resolve? When you have narrow range with those headroom and foot rooms, you have this setting here. Retain sub blacks and super wide data. You see that once you connect the dots, everything makes much more sense, that everything is there. When you select this option, you preserving this data. And Cine1 and log files usually use this range in super whites. This range is used into the signal very often. And the middle neutral value is always 512 and 50% is 502. There are different points. You need to study the specific standard. And once you learn and became second nature, everything is connecting. You don't struggle anymore with color wheels, because once you see the color wheel and any possible settings here, it makes complete sense end to end. Your possibility to choose the scopes, video level scopes, data level scopes. The data level full is different from the SDI range full that you need to transmit it through the SDI, and full data in some of the documentation is called file full range. When you use the delivery of the file, you can completely boost from 0 to 100 to 2023 into the full range. If you have it, if it doesn't use the SDI, the broadcast transmission at any point, only to see it, those exceptions, but you need to be aware of what you are doing. And they are very extended. There is a super precise. You can extract every information that you need basically from 50% signal. Let me see quickly if I can. I'm fortunate to find something significantly easy on the go. There are patterns for testing. This one, ABUS 7, is particular for SDR that you can. This is a testing pattern, and I have discovered my issue with the levels from DaVinci Resolve when I started using those one. Here there is little bars that if you crush in the whites, you see 3 bars in the middle. If they are correct, you see a little bit here, as I'm having now. That is correct. I started from here to discover what issue I was having with this. This is standard. You go through into the effect generators, and you having for HDR they are different. For SDR and HDR there are different levels, and you starting there. That way you discovering end to end that you have some issue, and you have here the visualization. And that's, I started with my color bars inside Atem Mini. That is video level, limited video signal, and I discovered from that I started to include with this, and everything expanded as a snowball effect. And I had to study a lot to reach to the conclusions and to understanding of the level of awareness to optimize. Once you understand this, you are golden. You are good to go whenever you need to go, whatever challenge you have. Let's return here in my because in order to do color calibration as a pattern generation, it is mandatory. That is how DaVinci Resolve works into the monitor calibration. You need to select non-empty timeline. You need to select color page, and there is a beautiful option here that you see, light illusion and display Calman. Even for DisplayCAL, I am using display Calman option to connect. But let's select, I have here, if you have connected, it is connecting, it's not open the software, but you need to arrive at this point. I will move forward with the little extended demo of the software. Now we open Calman that I have evaluation license. For the most, it have it is virtual, it is simulation basically. I have done it even with the sensor, but I'm not sure if it is actually doing something. Evaluation mode. That does what you need for DaVinci Resolve. Is they're called, all the processes of calibration are called workflows, and this is as a hypothesis of ultimate versions. You have everything here. There is even this browse. They are secondary, not present into the menu. Secondary workflows specifically for ongoing development. Usually for all the others that you might need, SmallHD, HDR calibration, everything, they are here. And there are also those that are more used, usually SDR, HDR, monitor. We need to choose, you need to choose 3D LUT. This option is only valuable for DaVinci Resolve inside DaVinci Resolve color accuracy calibration, and it is ultimate or professional. There are a lot of you can calibrate Asus AutoCAL, BenQ, Samsung small display, Dell specific versions. They all require the advanced version. I have installed here even the home edition that is usually sold for 250, whatever it might be, to calibrate the TV, LG software, Samsung, whatever it might be. It's not the same software. It is the same software, but with very much more limited version of the validation. It is not the same. They are on purpose done that it's more limited version. It's not the same version that you can do your home TV, buying lower grade home software of Calman, and you hope that it will be the same level. The validation and the corrections is much less precise, with less points of validation. And starting of the demo, .3D LUT. Here, I will connect my sensor . There is one simulated. I will choose this. Red is actually mine. That is seen as a X-Rite, the OM version, but it works perfectly. They are not officially supported by Calman, those from Calibrite. They are stating, we don't support them, but it works. Good to know. They have their own version that is specifically with their own firmware. Attention, their own, what is called something 5000. It works at 5. Its ceiling is 5000 nits, and its firmware is done in purpose. It doesn't work with any other software. Forget to use it with other softwares. Calman sensor is working only with the last versions of the Calman software, and it is the difference of this one HL Pro HL that is 3000, the other is 5000, but not 10,000 that the highest level of this is. And this you can use it with whatever software it might be, Light Illusion and whatever. The version of the Calman, it's stated even by Light Illusion and even by Calman. It works only with Calman. There is no way to make it. It cannot work with DisplayCAL. Only Calman. To keep in mind. And I'm choosing my sensor. I have chosen my Rex 709 Gamma the source here I'm connecting with the pattern generator engine of DaVinci, and this is present in every license. As a pattern generator, you can connect and use your I/O device for whatever solution you might choose, even for home, and use DaVinci Resolve as a pattern generator. But you cannot generate the 3D LUT. You can integrate it somehow into the process, into autocall of the hardware if it is covered by the license, but you cannot use it for DaVinci explicitly to save 3D LUT. I'm choosing connect, and it is working. I need to reopen here. Color page, mandatory. Workspace, not empty timeline. Monitor, connect. You see that I'm having the baseline 000 because I haven't set yet and it is in emulation. It's starting to send 000. It shouldn't send 000, but let's take it for good for now. The display, I don't have any, I will use. The most important passage now is this one. You need to set inside DaVinci the option with the video limited 10-bit, and you need mandatory absolutely to do whatever color accuracy calibration with Calman, luminance level, video 162455, not PC 0255. This is, otherwise you will get crushed the blacks and the whites. This is mandatory. And select it that way. And I'm almost good to go. Let's hit. I will do a next demonstration to show you how it works. Let's pretend that this is I'm positioning in the middle on the reference monitor. This one is my reference monitor through the output of my I/O device. Let me choose here. You see, it is black. I can show after that it is the output, should be the output of my Intensity Pro. In this case, no, the DeckLink Mini. And I'm doing here next, choosing D65, that is the white point, 6500 nit, white point, Kelvin. Rec 709. The transfer function is very important. It works with the same function except for the HDR that needs to be BT2100, the both HLG or the other PQ. They're different, but for Rec 2020 by default you need to use this one. Next, any pre-calibration capture, it's doing the pre-validation to evaluate the discrepancy. You choose here this one that is read series, and it starts to sending those values that you see here through my I/O device that I have directly into my Atem Mini. You see that I'm having this one. This is the pattern generator inside DaVinci that is connected to my hypothetical reference monitor with the sensor inside that is showing here into the viewer, and you have the values. This is the end-to-end to connect the entire flow, and you evaluate different aspects, and doing with all the steps the same process. You need to start read series and doing the same, and now we'll have the same patterns that are changing. My hypothetical external monitor, that is my Atem Mini port 1, and that is inside my viewer. That is why you see here into the viewer the image, but it is pointing through the Blackmagic DeckLink Mini monitor 4K into my external monitor. And that is the best explanation end-to-end. And going forward, 3D LUT calibration. I cannot do, here is the point when you do auto calibration connecting to something, I/O box or whatever contextualized configuration you might have. So I am skipping this. And starting the next passage, reading. It is quite straightforward, but you need to do different iterations of the process in order to understand how it needs to be understood. I'm giving you a goal with those particularities, fine-tunings that I have invested months to put them together with the dots. And you go in that way. Different passages. Hypothetically, my sensor now is not open. Those are emulated values. I can choose additional levels of validation. That is very additional great value because it's doing much more precisely everything. And you will see here that it is sending the pattern with those colors. And what I have discovered, the discrepancy that you see here the values of the actual color. What I was seeing here, that starting from the 0 and up, I was seeing here the patterns on my monitor was 0 until 64, 64, 64 was blind. And I have discovered, starting from that, discovering the discrepancy, the issue, I have troubleshooted, developed, researched, and everything. Next one. The same thing, read series. It is reading hypothetically the blacks and the tops. It's sending full range because it is emulation. It doesn't respect what I have chosen. But it is good to understand what it's doing. Okay, this is completed, and after that it reaches the end. Save and produce the report. Calman has particular way to validate the 3D LUT. You need to fine tune just a virtual LUT. With DisplayCAL is completely different. I'm saving the LUT inside DaVinci that I will show where. This is hypothetically we have already done the calibration with all the values. Pre-calibration evaluation, post-calibration evaluation, correction, different levels, the beautiful low level of DeltaE that you will get. Those are the saturation, all the additional level of validation is for the saturation, and it is very important. What is missing is difficult to find with the low grade software is DeltaE for the color. Okay, this is very important, color accuracy. But the most important thing is grayscale. That it needs to be as low as possible, very low possible, very low strict values for the grade 1, A and B, and grade 2, as well as grade 3. There are very strict requirements. It needs to be 0 something, not 2 point. And this is the complete actual process of calibration using Calman, with all the tweaks and particularities. Now it is closed. I will open to do the really overdo everything. I will choose DisplayCAL. It has this starting. With this start, it resets the profile of the computer. What are the bugs or inconsistency? From time to time, it's getting crazy and shift the entire profile into some strange hue. And while it's sending the patterns, it's shifting completely constantly the entire profile of the PC, and you get beyond bad results. You need to reset it, start, and even reboot the computer every time. You will get 3 good, super good results out of 10 validations. This is the software. And here, supposedly you start from the very beginning. I have done, those are countless calibration that I have done. You start, if you're doing your display of the computer, you choose video D65 Rec 709, they're calling it the 8086, but it is Rec 709 with the gamma. If it is inside DaVinci, you need to choose video 3D LAT resolve, and there is another one for HDR. Those two inside DaVinci, and you will generate the the 3D LAT. You can choose, let's suppose to choose this one. I usually choose this because my black is too. You need to choose TV 1635. Calibration, here you stayed here, and this you choose XMP310 no Rec 1886, not Rec 709, because the gamma needs to be, you can fine tune, and what I'm doing, I'm measuring every time my black and my white, because I need to, because I have a very high black and I need to correct. But let's suppose that I will close it and reopen it in order to have my default profile appearing again. If it works in that way, if it keeps the default. No, it has been reset. Anyway, let's suppose that I have completed the entire, it is long process. It will take, if you have good your device, it is doing something like an hour, 20 minutes. Intensity Pro or low profile I/O devices are very slow and not very at the level. With this, I was taking 3 hours like nothing. With this, even with my external little field monitor, it was taking almost 5 hours. Completely changed with DeckLink that has, and this doesn't have HDR. It works only in SDR. With this, I jumped immediately without doing nothing from 3 hours and half, 4 hours into 40 minutes, 50 minutes. There are fine tuning that you can reduce the time. Obviously, you reduce the precision. But the I/O device quality matters much, very much. 3D LUT is where you choose the color space. Rec 709, the gamma rec which is gamma 2.4. Even there are little difference, but it is that I'm doing usually 65 per 65, 65, and it works. This range, I'm living in full range. I have no idea if you need, if you send the correct values, you have to have the. At the end, I renounced to do even that because it was worsening the results. If I choose. But let's suppose you need to do end-to-end and you need to spend a lot of time with DisplayCAL. It's going crazy from time to time. Important thing with every software. Let's suppose you will get bad results. You will struggle, you cannot explain why. You close all the software. You need to reset the profile every time into the monitor. From the autocall, there is a passage that you are asked to reset the profile. Every time you need to reset the profile after the cycle that had been done previously, or you have present already another profile. If you have budget monitors as mine, you need to hard reset the monitor of the picture profile, color profile. If you are convinced that you are at the good point with the previous calibration already, almost, you are very bad place because it will shift, you will break, you will waste other 2-3 hours and you will get even worse result. It needs to start from the ground up to redo everything. Otherwise, it's no point. There is no point every time. And this is no. I was wanting to show the difference. It will take a long time, but this is broad. Very broad topic and argument. It will take, I want to show only the difference between the pattern generation that it is shown. Supposedly we will do this because I want to. Why it's not shelling the. Until I was my actual active, I can choose here to do the validation. It was connecting. Let's start with whatever it is. different way. I'm choosing here again workspace, monitor calibration, this one connect, and it is connected. Returning here, it is asking, this is the software. You have to choose black screen because it is inside the viewer. This needs to be chosen. Otherwise, you will have shift of the blacks to too much bleeding probably. If you use OLED, probably not, but it is good. And it is showing this. I will show now. I have the pattern here. It is at the center, but now I am completely out of place. And I'm sending the values, and this one is behaving super correctly. It sends 940, 64, 64 for the red. And when I have the blacks, it sends the 64, 64, 64. When I have the white, it's sending 940, 940, 940. It is completely consistent. And it is going in error because there is no feedback from the sensor, and we'll close it here. But basically, this is how it works. One important thing, when you do the calibration, in the case that you have here you need to start from no presence of any LUT here. Select no LUT and save in order to be active. And I'm doing the best practice after a lot of struggles. When I'm starting with my whatever timeline, I'm reset node grade in order to be completely without any shift and anything into the memory and expect. And once I have created the 3D LUT, it is offering me to save it into the directory. The directory is obviously inside DaVinci LUT. I have created a subdirectory that is called monitor. And those are the last one that I have left the last cycle. The tens of previous 30, 40 LUTs, I deleted everything that was before my strict Rec 709 100 nits. You see everything is around 100. Those are actual values of what I have obtained from the monitor. And you save it here. You do update list, and you need to select it inside this space. You open those subdirectories, and I'm calling it with the number in order to be easier to select the last one, because I was going into progression again and again and again and again. And let's see, you select one of the last one done that you need to activate. I have done endless lots, and after that I returned to one that was functioning actually very good. It's not the last. I will say why. And this applies the LUT inside my viewer, and as an output of my this one is the output of DaVinci. I'm starting my video. This is from DaVinci that is reading. And if I change the LUT, let's see if it can be very good showing off by disabling the LUT, if it will shift. You see, the entire profile has been shifted, the gamma and everything. This is how it works. I have shown everything basically. And this is it. Enormous work. Very important, never to forget. Video level, not full, 10-bit, whatever you are doing, or in the context in HDR, you need to adapt with 2020. If you enable here 444, by default it forces everything in full mode, keep in mind. And this is, let's going forward with the standards. Let's close a little bit of things. I'm a very good point. I can close what I can close here to free. My recording is proceeding. Let's do a little deep dive into the standards, that everything will be clear as I cannot say what, everything will come into place. Everything is based on standards. Respect the standards, you will never go wrong. Specification for plunge test signal. That's the shifts of the crushing the white and the blacks. It is a guidance specific how the levels are and what you need to look at. And they are always consistent. I mean, getting a little further quicker because I'm getting really tired on doing. And this is how is the comparison. The higher level into 8-bit digital is 235. Your white level is 235. In 10-bit, your white level is 940. Into 12-bit is 3760. Black level. Yeah, 8-bit is 16. And 10-bit is 64. In 12-bit is 320. Slightly darker levels are the tolerances that every system needs to support in order to avoid brutal errors. It needs to cover the discrepancies. And this is not in full that super whites and deep blacks. This is different tolerance. HDR, once you start to learn consistently, everything is matching. The biggest struggle is the headphones that are hurting like crazy. After 30 minutes began to hurt like crazy. And this is one. There are a lot of things. I cannot obviously present everything. There are reference viewing environment for HDR and for the rest. And there you get all the information about the grade 1, A and B, grade 2 monitors, and grade 3. Everything is connected. It is so easy once you connect the dot. It is absolutely a matrix of consistent information, consistent thing to look at, and everything makes sense. I'm looking, I went through all those. If I can remember something important to point out. But those are all standards about testing values of every of those that you need to see into the scopes in order to evaluate, and eventually with specific test charts, you in this way super calibrate the signal from the cameras. You are getting, and there are softwares specific for that. You are putting the chart of the laboratory DSC or DCS, I cannot remember exactly who is producing those standard related to the standards test charts. You need to use them and use a software that is reading the signal and it is transformed, or even inside DaVinci can be creative and get the signal directly inside DaVinci and read scope. And based upon those data that needs to be, you see immediately the discrepancy and you fine tune where and how you need to optimize all the cameras with the same values. This is how you do it at a very low level, fine-tuned, super optimized, super validated and guaranteed result. With the, you need reference, you need to respect the standards, you need reference point, you need standard related test charts, test workflow, test validation model, and you obtain at any point camera inside whatever the switch might be or whatever broadcast the devices, and inside the broadcast monitor, field monitor, or whatever it is, inside reference monitor, everything is connected and it works in the same way. The methodology are absolutely the same. The values of the signals and the range of the video signal is always the same. There is no fantasy here. It is one-to-one from the start till the end. Inside DaVinci, when you deliver gamma, video level signal, reference points in order to fine-tune a calibrate. Once it's done, it is done. It is perfect. This is how it's done. You need a meter to measure a meter. You don't use your hand because it will be more or less the same as you have one monitor 120 nits, another in 75, another in, even though they might be color accurate, you don't have consistent result, you don't have consistent reference point, you're doing a mess at the end, and you waste so much time. Do the standard. Follow the standard, respect the standard. And this is, I have downloaded them from today, because for example, this document is stating references, all the standards and the link to the documentation that they need, and I will build a mega knowledge and awareness about everything. Video signal tolerances in the video signal. I want to reopen this document after that to show you. This one from the XMP310, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is called Reference Procedure or something like that. RP or whatever it was. 2077. And I have it here only the first pages because you need to pay it. Unfortunately, I don't. This one. XMP310 Recommended Practice, RP. This is the conversion on the levels inside the industry, broadcast industry, how they need to, all the values needs to be, it is only 18 page, I have only 4. At least I don't pay for the 100 euros to have it. But there is another one that is very similar by the other, this one, which is EBU R103. It has the same thing. This is actually the video signal tolerance. It gives me all the values possible. SDI full, allow it, not allow it, headroom, up and down, possible values. SDI full, that there is another document that they expressed it. We have seen it before, even better. Let me see if I can find it quicker. There is everything, but you need to make sense of this image parameters values for high dynamic range television. This is for HDR, which is this one. BT, how it's working. You have the basis from the cathodic monitors, Rec 709, which is including the transfer function from optoelectrical, from camera to, but at that point there wasn't official transfer function standard for the electric optical transfer function that has been developed with BT 1886, and it is covering everything till HDR, which is 21 for the both options that you have. HDR, PQ, and log gam, how it's called. Perceptual quantization, PQ, that is not compatible with SDR. You need to have end-to-end capacity to visualize it. a hybrid log gamma with different reference levels of nits and everything, and it is, for the good part, compatible with SDR. But everything is here. The reference point is how you need to calibrate, what is the minimum luminance display black level. HDR grade 1 needs to cover this one. Your black needs to be 0.005 or less or equal. This is already the specs of your grade 1. Peak luminance of the display, equal or higher, 1000 nits for HDR. And they are different based on PQ and hybrid log gamma. That's why there is the distinction of grade 1A and grade 1B, because the capacity to work with both HDR's transfer function, PQ or hybrid, because some of them is capable, for example, to work well with PQ and missing log gamma or vice versa. That's why they are inside grade 1 for the one part, grade 1B. That with optimizing the level of the monitors, the grade 1B will be dismissed as a concept probably. But you can make absolute sense of everything and extract the documentation, the values that you need to reach. Not that the vendor is pushing mine the best of the best, pay $1 billion and you are good to go. You need to know what is actually the value that is required by the standard reference, and if it is covering these specs abundantly within margins, you actually is buying what is stated. In those, I was searching the representation of the. You always arrive to the same information, and it is consistent once you have comprehended what does it mean. Blacks, 10-bit coding, 64. We are still 64. Full range, narrow range, the same thing. Achromatic, the neutral is 512 in on both narrow range and full range with 10 bits and with 12 bits. 512 every time in 2048. That is 4 times higher. Everything is consistent. Nominal peak into the black. The same thing. Video data range. That in SDR, video data range is meaning in this context of the SDI, that is video data range from 4 till 2019, because the lowest 03 and the highest 1020 till 2023 is for the video, active video start, active video stop. That's how it was called. The frame that is starting and stopping the video signal is and the synchronization. And when you break this with the value from 0 inside SDR, this is where you get blacks and the signal is breaking, because your color is entering into the space of the video synchronization. And goes on. Everything is returning there. Super consistent. Once you connect the dot, it is easy going. But it's for me, it has been big struggle to enter into the actual space of the reasoning and to connect the dots. And this is one template, the same thing, values, 10-bit colors. Whenever standard you are going through, that this is BT 2020. That is only the color space without high dynamic range, because there is BT 1886. I don't remember if I already said it. It has been created in order to adapt to the cathode emulation of how the signal is, the transfer function is done in order to have similar representation on the monitor. This is what is meaning the BT 1886. And it is applying consistently from the RX 709 till the BT 2020 as a color space. Once you enter into high dynamic SDR, HDR, high dynamic range, it is not enough to state that you're using BT 2020. You have to use BT 2100, PQ or HLG. This is the difference. The next evolution has been with the HDR that is going on top of the BT 2020, that is the color space, the possibility to represent much higher dynamic range. This is high definition till BT 2020 for color space, high definition and higher frame per second. But it's not the electro-optical function for the high HDR, high dynamic range. So you need to understand how they are stacked as a pillar. And the last one, if you want to do HDR, you are going over 2020 with the 2100 PQ or what was I'm going in confusion already. HLG or whatever it is. You see, this is a representation of the higher possibility of higher resolution. 4K, 8K, I have no idea. Yes, this seems to be 8K. And this is 4K. And the possibility to enter into the standard, the highest frame frequency. Progressive. Sorry. And this is the evolution. The subsampling or sampling 444, 422, 420, it is, everything is here. How it's covered, how it's managed. 10-bit coding, 12-bit coding, and you need to see the matrix of requirements, specs, and values. And we return again video data from 4 to 1000, the same thing that is repeated everywhere. From 4 to 1019 for SDR video data. but the color can be with the high whites and deep blacks, or within its space 64,940. This is, and this can be even different inside those values. The difference between this and this inside could be even different video data that is supporting the signal, the synchronization, everything. Everything is connected. And it is super important, absolutely super duper important. BT709, the standard. The last one that has been, this is from the E2, the standard I have downloaded. They open. And you going through, everything is present. How it's, what is managing, 60p, 60 Hz, 60 frame per second, progressive. 30, how it's been to guarantee compatibility with old television signal. 25, progressive, segmented frame, signal, values, colors, luminance, chrominance, whatever it is, chromacity, everything is here. And this is exactly how the system and the signal has been done. You can see 25 are covered inside. There was a shifting at this point, at one point that I have seen that they covered 30, and you need to deep dive into specificity. The signal. You need to be engineer to understand, okay. But this is the, how it's called, the parallel and sequential. This is the same thing, but multiplex streamed the entire signal. Reference point tests the same thing, and this is Rec 709. After that, BT 1886. The last update is from 2011. That the electro-optical transfer function of SRT display differs, and it is done in order to emulate the CRT capability of displaying the image. It is not the same, but it is done in order to be similar. And this is what is the meaning of this. With the color value, color temperature, that is D65. It is inside this 6500 Kelvin. It is inside here. The transfer function and his historic overview, why the reasoning and how it's been done. And the next one. Okay, this one we have seen it. Those are all the open BT publications, broadcasting service television and everything on E2. You can find them, download them, read them, understand them. And inside this excellent documentation. This is from EBU, operating in Eurovision and Euroradio. They at the end are the same thing, explained in a different way. Recommendation, keyword, hybrid gamma, HDR. What I have seen. Recommendation E2BT 21003. This is the opto-optical transfer function. System gamma and opto. This is for the high HDR. The monitors that what value needs to be manufactured. I am almost done. The different levels, how they are, the minimum, the maximum, the level of tolerance, grade 1, grade 1A, grade 1B, grade 2, the tolerances, the minimum, the absolute necessity, specs, minimum, absolute minimum guaranteed, and so on. Everything is here, how it's covered. Everything, absolutely everything. And this is excellent reference point because you see everything here. This is the equal document or similar as a recommended practice 2077. This is EBU R103, video signal tolerances in digital video television with the values. User requirements for video monitors. This is where the different grades of television with monitors are defined. It doesn't the pointer doesn't work. Okay. High dynamic range. The very important thing that you need to match with the requirements of the monitors. High dynamic range television viewing condition. This is the context in which you need to use specific monitor with specific requirements. And there is for the HDR and for the SDR. And after that there is probably the document that is unifying this. This is for the SDR 2035 and this is for high dynamic range, the next evolution. The test plunge test, and you understand how everything is done. Method for measurement of the performance of this is very interesting. Because this is everything about measurement of SDR displays. Yes, test patterns, luminance range, white level, super white level, black level, super duper black levels, deep contrast light, simulation, how you need to use it inside, what requirements needs to respond into the studio environment that you need to be able to shift from D65 into color temperature of something like 3200 in order to match that what basically I have done here. I'm using all my lights are 2700 Kelvin. I'm using my simulation of the day. That's why it's so good looking that I have done, the discovery that I have done one day during the day, the live production, and I have seen that enormous difference between night and day. It is actually night and day. I will show you now. Only one, today I have fine-tuned it. I have one of the RGB, I have set it top day. Look. It is not connected. During the night, during the day, it is lifting the entire environment, is getting more space. And today I have double checked how was the temperature. Usually I have measured it before at 4,400. Today I have measured it probably because it is the season has changed. Now it's 4010, but I can change the color. It shift the hue, the colors, all the colors. And it is important. In studio is very important to adapt to the studio. The reasoning was that the monitor you need to adapt, production monitor, that I have completely changed my calibration. That was 100 nits. It is not 100 nits. It is at least 250. This one, and this one, with completely different gamma, much brighter, much with everything has been adapted to the studio. And you have here how to use studio monitor and what needs to support in order to respect those requirements. One of the many documents. This is sorry, I am not showing. This is one of the most important documents, as the other 2077. Video signal tolerances in the levels of the signals. I'm doing the review and I'm closing here. Video ranges. Again, there is always the same thing. Narrow range, video range. The range that is valid and acceptable. Super wides, sub blacks. When you go down till 4, between 4 and 64 for the sub blacks, and up between SDR is when it is valued so-called 109%. You see that it is shifted here. It is 64 to the max of 1019, not 940. It is comprised with the log file. Log signal is operating exactly this. It using the super wides. It needs to cover and use this portion of the signal that is probably not use the sub blacks, but this is absolutely extended range. It's not formally defined, but sometimes use it. And this is what is Scene 1 in color profile Sony is using exactly this. It pushes the white into 109% and the logs. And I have exhausted everything. It is beautiful. Once you have comprehended what is actually, I have the access to the documentation and can learn and connect the dots. Every device is using this. Monitors, cameras, ATEM Mini. The concept of calibration is using those values in order to reach to the certain reference point. This is the calibration, to have the starting base point of certain predetermined value. Camera output, input inside whatever it is, video switch, or inside DaVinci. Everything is the same concept. The output, and it is the same thing, repeated again and again and again and again. Let me put a little music. Signal outside active picture shall be excluded for the measurement. So those values are not used from the calibration. That 64,940. For image system described, you have to go with tranquility and everything and see signal range. Everything is repeated again. And we arrive to the same representation. That is excellent. Here is how it's done. File full, referred as file full range. Inside the file, it could be from 0 to the max. You don't use actually video signal in order to leave the range and stay into the limited range. Why you use the limited range? In order to leave time reference signal in SDI, headroom about different video data signals. This is the scope. If you have broadcast transmission, you have to have those values. Free. Not used by the color. And where am I? At the end. This has been really great representation. I had the propulsion to do it, and it's been great experience. I have super calibrated. I have excellent values for the grade of hardware that I have. It's been live opening, subliminal experience, and I am happy that I've had it, and why I had reached to the point of deep dive and understanding, connecting the dots. And with that, I'm thankful for your attention. And I will say, as always, follow me, if you have questions, comment into the... this has been transmitted in live stream on LinkedIn, YouTube, a Alqubit profile on Facebook. Unfortunately, Facebook after a while delete live productions. It will stay inside LinkedIn and YouTube. My previous live production will be deleted. I already made it. It wasn't at the necessary groove that I had today, fortunately. And I'm happy to share this. The knowledge inside broadcast and this industry is monetized, and it is really strong, great gatekeeping. It is definitely difficult to obtain consistent. It is missing the real knowledge. There is more based on marketing, little pieces, fragmentation of truths that by themselves doesn't construct the puzzle. If you have few pieces of the puzzle, you don't have the big picture. If you start from the big picture and know what it guiding you, you will construct the entire puzzle. And I'm wishing you all the best. Thank you. We will see again. This has been a great production. I'm happy. The image is excellent. I have reached absolutely great result. And we will see soon again. I will not do the bad figure with my outro. Now outro. Goodbye, we will see soon again. Outro.
Alqubit IT as an expression of art. Alqubit IT as an expression of art.